Welcome back to my Expanded Universe chronological reviews. Today I have the Freedon Tales of the Jedi, the Freedon Nadd Uprising issue number 1. This was written by Tom Veitch with art from Tony Atkins. It was published in 1994 by Dark Horse Comics. It takes place in approximately 3,998 BBY. Now in this story, we get right back into the action where we left off from Tales of the Jedi. It's the funeral procession for Queen Aminoa, who was vanquished last issue. Now her daughter, Princess Gallia, is the queen and has married the leader of the Beast Riders, Oren Kira, thus uniting most of the planet. But ominously, Arkajeth mentions that there are dark side followers still at large on the planet, and we don't have to wait long to see them, as suddenly this giant black spiky war vessel bursts out of the sand itself from the tunnels below the surface of Onderon, and they jump out to battle the Jedi. Oswillem is there now, which is interesting. That's a payoff to the earlier issue where Tot Donita came to collect him in the saga of Nomi Sunrider. So he's there now too. The Jedi jump into action, fighting against the Naddists, who are there to claim the bodies of Freedon, Nadd, and Queen Aminoa, which they had been trying to ship off to one of the moons of Onderon, so that the darkness with those bodies wouldn't be affecting them on the planet there. So these forces are being led by Warb Null, the scary black-armored Naddist who has a green lightsaber here instead of a red lightsaber. His armor looks absolutely super cool. And one thing I forgot until I reread this is he is literally a physically huge presence. He is large. He is scary. He is physically bigger than everyone else. And as he fights the Jedi, Oswillem and Tot Donita are struggling because they say that there's a darkness to him and it's blocking everything out. It's dizzying their perceptions. He looks like, hold to the light. It's all we have. But in the course of the battle, the Naddists get away with the bodies, and the Jedi and the Beast Riders are left defeated. But those Naddists were forced to retreat there. So then Queen Gallia says, we need to learn more about the dark side. So let's go to my father, King Omen, who is still alive, because he knows a lot about the dark side. So Arkajeth's like, yes, let's go. And so they go to him, and he's on this life support, but he's like got this cage around him. He's got this metal cage all around him, supporting his bones, holding him together. He's practically a corpse at this point. And so at first he seems nice. It seems all right. But Arca leans close to him, and Omen's like, I've been trapped in a void of my mind, which is an absolutely terrifying thought. He's like, I'm trapped in the darkness. I can't get out. And then it turns out Freedon Nadd is there, and he is possessing Omen. He has taken him over. And as Arca finds this out, as he leans close to Omen, interestingly, Omen says, the dark side's been in my family for many years. My father before him, generations of dark side servient Freedon Nadd followers, which we obviously know from the short story about Freedon Nadd. So then Freedon reveals himself as this huge spirit that manifests behind Omen, and he force slaps Arca across the room. And Ulick rushes to his side, but then his hands are zapped. There's this green dark side energy that's coursing all over Arca's body. And then Warb Null shows up through the caverns as well. And Omen's like, daughter, come to me. You will serve our dark side purposes. You will join us with the dark side. And so then Ulick jumps in because Gallia's like, no, I don't want that. Help me, Ulick. And so Ulick jumps in and battles against Warb Null. As the battle's going on, Omen comments to Freedon Nadd that he thinks Ulick will make short work of Warb Null. So, the dark side, they're leaving their warrior behind, and while the battle's ensuing, they collect Arkajeth's body and take off with him. But interestingly, this is where Freedon Nadd drops some heavy foreshadowing, because Freedon Nadd says here that Ulic Qel-Droma has a great destiny, hinting about his inevitable fall to the dark side. So even this early, they were setting that up, which is very, very cool. So Ulic does indeed defeat Warb Null. I wish we got to see him a little bit more because he's so cool. He's the Sith with a green lightsaber and huge battle armor, and he's visually really cool on the pages. So it's a shame that they defeated him so fast, but at the same time, Ulic gets to slay a dark side opponent. But then Ulic's really kicking himself when they regroup with the other Jedi and Beast Riders, and he's like, why didn't I see this coming? Why wasn't I able to rescue Arca? And then the other Jedi are like, you did what you could, it's alright. Meanwhile, on Ossus, Thawne has taken Nomi to Ossus, and now she is to construct her first lightsaber, which is very, very cool to see. And she does that with Master Vodosios Bass, the red insectoid Kravaki, and he mentions that Vima, her daughter, will become a great Jedi one day as well. And so she shows, Master Vodo shows Nomi how to construct her lightsaber, and she does. And then sends them off as reinforcements back to Onderon. And so the team consists of Nomi Sunrider, Kith Kark, Shoaneb Kulu, Tay Dieth, part of the Dieth family. He's got like weird buns on his head that's really funny, like 3 of them. But he's part of a very prominent line of Jedi who the Force runs very strongly in them, and they're in multiple comics throughout the expanded universe. And also Kurl Talk. And that's the team of Jedi reinforcements going back to Onderon. It's really interesting, actually, how this series goes back and revisits Onderon so quickly. It's like we just had a mission here. We thought it was all wrapped up, but it wasn't. Now we got to go back, fix things for good there. And so quickly they're going to have to go back, and they've got reinforcements this time. Then finally we have a little story where cousins Satel and Alima Kato stumble across some Sith artifacts, steal it, hop in their ship, and get out of there before the Jedi or the government of Onderon are any the wiser. They're going to cause a lot of trouble going forward for this era. Now they have these dark side artifacts, and they're intrigued by it. This issue is so very nice. The art is incredible. The characterization's great. It's a snappy story. It has payoffs to the earlier issues, with Oswillem being there, with Nomi Sunrider getting to step that much forward into her Jedi training. We're seeing all these stories converge together, so there's so many satisfying payoffs to the earlier issues. This also sets up so many events later on. There's a lot of foreshadowing. It's a really important issue. It's a snappy issue as well. It's quick-paced, and it's paced very well. It's an exciting read, and it shifts back and forth between various narratives. So you've got your Onderon story here, which takes up most of it, but then you switch over to an Ossus story, where it's bringing Nomi into the story. Then you switch over to the Katos for a payoff later, and it's just really well done overall. A very important issue and a very enjoyable issue in the series. I would definitely rank this one an 8 of 10, and I'd recommend everyone gives this one a read. I think it's a really fantastic story here, and I think it's really one of the greatest issues of Tales of the Jedi so far. Also, that cover art is so very nice as well.
Honey.